Murder or acquittal? That was the choice faced by 12 jurors in the trial of former Jetstar pilot Greg Lynn, accused of killing two elderly campers involved in a secret love affair. Today, they delivered a verdict no one saw coming.
No witnesses, little forensic evidence. Today, former Jetstar pilot and hobby deer hunter Greg Lynn has been found guilty of the murder of Carol Clay and not guilty of killing Russell Hill.
This is going to take some time to kind of unpick as we go forward, but certainly an interesting result legally.
On March 16th, 2020, Greg Lynn drove to a remote campsite in Victoria's high country for a solo hunting trip. March 19th, campers Russell and Carol set off for the same area. The next day, they vanished. Russell and Carol's remains discovered 20 months later. The pair were childhood sweethearts who'd been having a 2-decade-long love affair.
We didn't know anything about him and Carol being together.
But Greg Lynn denied he murdered the secret lovers, insisting that Russell and Carol's deaths had been tragic accidents following a confrontation over a drone. Greg Lynn told the jury Russell had grabbed his hunting gun. There was a struggle, a bullet struck a car mirror and hit Carol in the head. Russell then rushed at Lynn with a kitchen knife. But during the scuffle, it was Russell who landed on the blade. Lynn admitted to destroying evidence, burning the campsite, disposing of their drone and phones, taking cash from Russell's wallet before dumping their bodies in bushland.
For me, I'm married with a family. If I came to you straight away, my career, the rest of my life, with my memberships, it's over.
On June 4th, Greg Lynn repainted his Nissan Patrol. In November, he returned to the burial site, setting fire to their remains. 12 months later,
critical breakthrough.
This episode of 60 Minutes aired.
The key to it all is this car. That's our key.
We believe it's a mid-90s Nissan Patrol. This one is dark blue.
Secret police listening devices in Greg Lynn's home captured him watching the episode. His wife telling her husband the car and trailer shown in the story really looks like his. 6 days later, Lynn was captured removing an awning from his vehicle. Today, after 7 days of deliberation, the jury returned its mixed verdict. Russell and Carol's families describing the verdict as devastating, saying the accused was the only person who saw and experienced what happened. He was also the only person who emerged alive. Greg Lynn, now a convicted murderer facing 25 years behind bars.
Justin Quill is a partner at Thomas Gear Lawyers and was there for the verdict. He joined us from outside the courtroom. Justin, does anyone know how we got a split verdict here?
No, and we'll never know. I mean, the way it is in Victoria, in fact, all the jurisdictions around this country is that jurors are not allowed to reveal their deliberations. We're not allowed to ask, and even if we found out, we're not allowed to tell other people or report it. So, no, we'll never really know. And it doesn't really seem to fit with either Greg Lynn's version of events or even the prosecution theory that was put forward. So it's quite an unusual and surprising verdict.
Justin, why was manslaughter off the table?
Everyone's asking that question. Look, if you believe if you believe Greg Lynn's version of events, then he's not guilty of manslaughter. It was a tragic accident, or two tragic accidents, would you believe? And so you either believe him or you don't. It's either murder or it's not murder. There's no manslaughter available, and that was the decision that was taken by the judge. But it was in agreement with both the prosecution and the defence. I might say I think the defence probably wanted manslaughter off the table. They probably felt like if that was available to the jury, they might just take that.
There was also, though, evidence not presented to the jury, secret recordings, details of his ex-wife's death. What can you tell us about that?
Yeah, look, that's perhaps not that unusual. Most criminal trials, the judge's aim is to have the jury only hearing the facts of the charges in front of the jury. They don't want them hearing other matters that might go to the general credit of the defendant, because juries might be swayed by that general credit, and that's not what they're there to do. They're there to decide the evidence on that particular case. So we heard, we know of things about the death of Greg Lynn's first wife. She died in suspicious circumstances. It was a coronial inquiry. I might say he was not found to be responsible, but there were questions asked at the time. Then you have a whole stack of recordings that police had where they bugged his car and he was muttering things about the drone and the campers and all sorts of unusual things. So there was a fair bit that didn't go to the jury.
Yeah, indeed. We'll see if anything further comes from this, an appeal or whatever happens to emerge. Justin, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, guys.